First of all, I say, why is it shocking to the men? I mean, it could have been a man. It could have been men all the way. It has always been. It has always been the men. You know,
men.
I find this quite sexist because at the end of the day,
shouldn't the women be different?
Yes, the women are different. However, I think that the expectation and the standards of higher morality is expected of the woman because of her nurturing kind of personality, because of how she is framed to be able to be accountable. What we see happening today, it is not a role of gender. It's a role of preparedness, preparation, planning, and institutional systems that we need to go back to look at the default lines.
Not naivety?
You can consider a bit of naivety, but you cannot say that there is no role where the institutions come into play, because you have both men and women in those spaces. And for the first time in a long time, women are put under the searchlight because they expect better from them. Even though the accusations seem a little, you know, for some people very extraordinary and some people sordid, the question is, what are the issues? You know, how do we correct the issues? What are the resolutions so that whether it is a man or woman that finds themselves in that kind of condition, they will be able to understand the policy guidelines that, you know, govern such institutions.
Men are expecting so much,
but men,
the public expecting so much. Because, for example, Betta, who happens to be the minister that has been suspended,
absolutely,
she's not just a woman, she's young. And, you know, after we had gone through the not too young to wrong thing, and with the decision of a lot of Nigerians to give more women, young women, you know, opportunities, the thinking is that if women are getting into government and they are not prepared, then it means they really need to work very, very hard before they get into the position of power.
I mean, I hear you, but you know, it's always been the case of the old boys club, and who calls the cadets on them all the time. And not to sound, you know, like I'm edifying the wrongs, but the truth of the matter is that let's get away from the razzmatazz and the glam and the sensitization of whether it's a woman or whether it's female. Let's look at the issues in place. We have a serious problem on our hand, and I think that's what Mr. President should be looking at. We're not looking at the fact that it's Betta I do, or, you know, Becca, or whoever it is. Absolutely. We are looking at the fact that there is a long time characteristics of a default line in institutions that enable lack of accountability, that enable thievery, that enable, you know, misappropriation of funds. And people who walk into those spaces without underlined understanding, perhaps through training from the ministry itself, would also go into that fault line. So if you change a Betta I do today and put somebody else, and the person finds themselves in that kind of intrigue, they will still make the mistake. So it's a total overhaul.
Well, I think the idea behind giving women the humanitarian ministry, because of how by nature women are actually people who nurture others easily. But coming back to your book now, I want to find out the